Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to talk about cloud migrations, modernization. So, cloud migration is not a straightforward activity, as we all know, and because migrating from one place to another is always a challenging, and things gets broken when you migrate from one place to another place. Even in your real life, when you move from one place to another, or even when you are traveling to somewhere, that's also you are moving from one place to another, right? So we will understand how what is cloud migration exactly, and then we will also understand with with some real world example, and then we will map it so that you will get a better understanding of each and every steps involves during the migration process. Okay. So what is cloud migration then? The cloud migration is the process of moving data and application or other business platform from on premises to the cloud. It could be your on premises, the source could be your on premises, this could be your co-location data center, or you can move your application from other cloud like AWS or Azure to the Google Cloud, or any other cloud. I mean, the migration can happen between the clouds, right? I have also mentioned modernization here that we will also talk about. So, modernization is basically related to the cloud migration, but have some distinct concept and approach. In a cloud migration, the goal is often take the advantage of the cloud benefits like the scalability, cost saving, and the flexibility, right? And in the modernization, basically, it can include the re-architecting, refactoring, or even replacing the outdated software to improve the performance or security and the scalability. So modernization is like upgrading your old manual filling system to an automated and digital one. So I'll talk about modernization, because modernization has a different component, right? As I said, right, when you are migrating your application, or using the lift and very simple lift and shift strategy to the cloud, you are already achieving a modernization, one of the modernization component, which we call it infrastructure modernization, right? So your infrastructure gets modernized when you move all your application, or you move your application to or workload to the Google Cloud. So when we say modernization, it's not just infrastructure modernization, it's an application modernization, it's your data modernization, and then you have DevOps modernization, and the cultural modernization. So there are five components involved into the modernization. So once you migrate your workloads to the Google Cloud, then basically you start refactoring and reworking on your application and infra to towards the modernization process, right? Okay, so we'll talk about modernization later on. Let's first understand the cloud migration process, right? So during the cloud migration, there are certain process, right? As you have heard about that, right? There are certain process, you can call it it's a, let me check, it's a, okay, so it's a assessment, or assessment, and then you have plan, then you have migrate, and then you have optimize. So these are the certain steps that you need to follow when you start a cloud migration project. There are other steps as well before the assessment and after that, but but these are the major for strategy, or maybe say, you can say the steps, right? So think about so let's talk about the migration, right? What exactly happen on each steps when you basically migrate your workload from on-prem to Google Cloud. So as I said, right, migration is not a straightforward activity. It's very complex, and it takes a lot of times, even months and years, for migrating your entire workloads to the Google Cloud, right? Because you have to, because each steps, like as I said here, before you migrate, you would go through the assessment. Then you plan it, and the planning phase, there are a lot of time spent during the assessment and plan, and then you do the migrate thing, where you will use the tools and technology. And then once your workloads gets migrated, you're gonna use and optimize your resource in the cloud to improve the performance and reducing the cost. So I'm going to cover this very first thing, that the very first thing that comes to your mind, and as an architect or as an engineer, you will think that why would customer wants to move to the cloud, right? There has to be certain reason. So I would say, before assessment there has to be certain reason, right? So what are those reasons? Even in your real life, if you want to go from one place to another, there are certain reason, right? If you're moving from, let's say, from one place, or maybe are just going to the market to buy something, right? So there are reason that you are buying, you are going to market to buy some items of, right, for your household. So even for the cloud migration, the customer has some reasons. Now what are those reasons? The reason could be, anything, right? Let's say, um, customer wants, facing an scalability issue, right? And in their traditional on-premise environment, maybe they are not able to achieve that. There could be a second reason, right? That you know the data center is shutting down, and and they want to move completely from data center to the cloud, right? Thirdly, that it could be a cost issue, because initially when you invest into the on-prem environment, you have to invest a lot of dollars because of the capex model, right? But you can move from capex to the opex model, with as a pay as you go model into the cloud, right? So cost is another factor when it comes to the reason. So I'll give you a very simple example of a real world. Let's say, you buy a home here. I mean, you are living here in a small home, 2 bhk house, I'll say, two. And for some reason, you want to move from this place. I'll make it green, maybe. It's a bigger house, maybe home, 3 BHK. Oh, 1 second. 3 BHK. So let's say, you want to move from this home, which you are where are you currently living, to where? To the maybe a new home, which is situated somewhere else, maybe in some other city or some other locality, right? And so there are some reason, right? Why do you want to move, even when you are migrating from one place to another? So the reason could be, like, maybe this home is bit small and you cannot scale it, right? Basically, it's a 2 bhk room, the space is less, and maybe your household items are growing, your family is growing, and this room is little bit small for you. So you will decide, right, that I want to move from this place, maybe I'm going to buy some other home. And then you decide, right? So there are some reason. Now what could be the reason? It could be like scalability issue, or there could be another reason. Let's say you are living on rent, and your owner wants to vacate this place, so you have to vacate your place. So that's why it's kind of a agreement experiment issue, or maybe shut down, right? And then there could be another reason, that maybe in your current home, there is a issue, right? In, let's say, the water is leaking, and there are a lot of issues that are happening, and you're not happy with this service, right? Or right. So that's why it could be another reason that you wants to migrate to your new home, right? Now what is the second part is, like, once you have the reason in place, there is another thing that comes into my comes in my mind, is the estimations, right? It's basically the estimations, which basically nothing that, in case of this example, migrating home, what you're going to do is, basically, you will then estimate it. If I Let's say, if you want to move from one place to another, you will estimate your budget and everything, like how much it cost when I move from this place to this place. Maybe this home is little cheaper, and the target place is quite high, right, in terms of costing. So all this, your estimation, you will do that, and you will also estimate that, how much it is going to cost you when you migrate it, right? Because you're going to pay for movers and packers and all those things, right? So all those costing parts should be involved here into the estimation. Similarly here as well into the cloud, you're gonna compare the estimations, right? How much it is going to um, cost you, right? So if you are using the migration center, this particular tool you from the Google Cloud, so the migration center lets you generate a rapid cost estimate of your future cloud cost based on the size and configuration of the resource in your current on-premises environment. And this lets you and your organization take some guesswork out of the future cloud budgets, right? So basically you are guessing here, right, some of the estimations part. Now discovery, right? So discovery is nothing that in basically you are um, accessing your or discovering your existing environment, right? Let's say in your current home you have a different types of household items, right? So you're basically discovering which one is costly, or what do you have right now, right? So all these household items you are actually um, discovering during the initial phase, right, before you migrate. Similarly, into the cloud, if you are using the migration center, it gives you this discovery phase tool, and the migration center helps you to create an inventory of your assets, including the servers, Microsoft SQL servers, MySQL, PostgreSQL database, by automatically scanning your on-premises environment. So by automating as much as of this possible with the migration center, it saves your organization's time and energy that would otherwise be spent collecting this data manually, right? So it has some tools that you should use. So I would, let me add here, 1 second, for a reason. Then you have um, estimation, then you have discovery. Sometime you directly go for the assessment, right? Because assessment is also the same things, basically accessing your even if you just don't go for discovery, you can directly go for the assessment part. In the assessment, basically there are some tools which actually scan your environment, and in the cloud, and basically gives you the information of your application and data, the application dependencies, network dependencies, network diagram, not diagram, I mean the network connectivity, the storage things, right? How much storage you have. So total overall information of your resources, right? So this gives you some sort of idea, right? What is currently running in your on-prem environment. Similarly, if I talk about this example, so similarly you just check your how much items you have, um, how much glass items you have, how much wooden items you have, how much other items you have, which one is costly, which one is cheaper. And so you decide right there the overall capacity of your home, or the items that you want to migrate, right? Now coming to a very important part which we call it plan. Right, plan is very important, right? Assessment and plan is very important. So in assessment we have done all your you know assessments here on the existing environment, and then comes to in assessment we also decide that which is your target cloud, right? So we decide, okay, we want to migrate from migrate to the Google Cloud, we migrate, or we want to migrate to the AWS cloud. So there we will also decide, right? So there are multiple stakeholders which actually takes the decision based on the reasons or proximities to the Google Cloud and the support system that they are already getting from, and the the technology that, or the services that is offered by the different cloud provider, right? So based on that, based on the requirement, you take a decision about your target clouds. Now comes to the planning part. Planning part is very important because here you will basically start um, creating the foundations, right? So what's in the plan? Let's understand from this migrating home. Now the plan is like, yeah, you're gonna select or find the target home, let's say this is a 3 bhk home situated in some of the good locality. And then what you're gonna do, you will talk to the owner, or maybe you will talk to the owner, or maybe the authority to buy this home. And all the basic prerequisites like the agreement, the all the basic foundation of this home, like flooring or painting and everything should be in place. So these are the basic things that should be in place before you move, right? Because if your home is not ready, you can't move, right? So you have to plan it, and this actually comes under your plan, because you want to make sure that your target home is full, is it should be ready before you actually migrate it, right? So here in terms of cloud, you want to make sure that your target cloud has the basic foundations are set up, right? And all this vpn connectivity or direct connectivity should be in place, and all your IAM and IAM should be in place so that the people gets access to the Google Cloud. And then you also decide here in this phase that you want to educate or upgrade the skills of your existing employee, the people, so that they would understand how the cloud technology works, right? You also make sure that there is a security in place in the cloud, right? So maybe you will create a landing zone here into the Google Cloud, and you will create a VPC connectivity. You will then secure using the IAM. You have a storage bucket, and there are a lot of things, right, that you would prepare in advance. Basically, it's kind of a um, creating the basic foundations, right? So here you will decide that um, that this should be in place. And in the planning all part also, you also decide from the source part that which application that you want to move first, right? Which application has a least dependencies, and even if you migrate and migration gets failed, then you can easily roll back, and there is a very less impact to the business. So as a part of first migration, you can have a maybe any non-production application as a first pilot phase migration maybe. And this pilot phase migration would decide for your futures migrations, right? So you're going to learn a lot of things during your non-production migrations phase, right? So all these things, right? You will decide during the planning phase, right? And it's not a single person who is going to decide it. There are multiple stakeholders, right? You're going to meet with operations team, delivery team, developers, executives, program managers. There are many teams that they sit together and decide this entire plan. Okay. And then comes to the migrate part. So migrate is very important, right? So as I told you in this example, right, the planning is something that you decided, right? Your home should be ready. Now comes to the migration part. Now let's understand, if you want to move from here to here, how do you move that, right? You cannot just take it from your hand, right? You cannot collect your luggage and putting it here, right? So there has some tools in the migration. In this example, maybe you will call the movers and packers, or some third party companies that they are actually professionals in packing your household items and luggage, and they gonna load it onto the truck. And basically, if I say here, they have this maybe. So migration phase is basically you're gonna load this. So let's say it's a truck, right? Loader. So you're gonna move all your luggage basically here, and this think about this is a tool, right? In a cloud migration terms. So you're gonna load everything here, and this particular tool or the loader will actually load your items here, right? And it is going to take your entire items and put it here, right? So this is that. So there in terms of cloud migration, we have certain tools that GCP provides. So you can use those tools to migrate your compute instance, to migrate your database instance, and to migrate your stateful instance, right, to data and everything, right? So there are tools like compute for migrations for VM, and you have a storage for migration for data, and then you have database migration for the database. So you would use those tool here to actually migrating things, right? So this is very crucial steps, because um, this is where you will see whether the migration gets failed, or or it's or or successful. So based on that you will roll back, or so on based on that you will have some certain sorts of run books, playbooks ready, and all the stakeholders sit together in a war rooms, and they will actually moving things um, from this tool. So um, one more thing in a migration, that before you when you're doing the migration, it is recommended that you migrate your database first. So because the database sometimes is too heavy, so it's better to migrate your database so that you can get a replica here, and then you can start moving your application, or start moving your stateful application. Now the very important thing into the migration that I forgot to tell you here, strategy, right? I mean, what migration strategy that you are going to follow. So there are different strategy that you need to follow. The first is lift and shift. The other is replatform, and then re-architect. Re- I mean, there are multiple strategy, but these three are quite famous, and I have seen that as my experience. Most of the companies are using the first approach, lift and shift. Okay, and lift and shift means you are going to move your workload as it is, right? You just move it as it is to the Google Cloud, and things will run on your VMs, right? So you are not doing any replatforming or any changes, or with some minimal change, I would say, in the lift and shift. Even your database which is running on your VM here, it will run on to the compute engine here, right, as it is. So and your VMs and your application also run on the VM, same thing, right? And maybe here you are using the F5 load balancer, and here you will use the Google Cloud load balancer, right? So all those things, a little bit replatforming, I would say, during the lift and shift, specifically for the you are using the load balancer as a managed service. So I would say a little bit lift and shift along with the replatforming. Now, when it comes to replatforming, means basically, let's say you want to move your database from, you know, let's say it's running Microsoft SQL Server here on the compute engine or onto the VM, and you want to replatform it. So you can directly replatforming means you are moving this unmanaged or your self-managed database to a Google Cloud provided managed database service, right? So, for example, you have a Google Cloud MySQL, Google Cloud SQL for MySQL database, PostgreSQL, and you have a SQL Server, and then you have a spanner. So you can directly re-platform it, changing the code and moving it to direct to the managed service. I mean, the best approach, I would, as per my experience, the best approach is you do the lift and shift here, and then once the lift and shift has been done, you can continuously to optimize your applications are running, everything is fine. You're able to serve the traffic, and after a few years, maybe 2 years or 3 years later, you can go for the re-platforming, or you can directly go for the re-architecting. Now re-architecting is nothing, is basically the actual modernization concept, I would say. I mean, still, once you migrated it, let's say using the lift and shift, you are achieving some sort of modernization here, especially the infrastructure modernization, right? Because now your application is running onto the advanced hardware, right? Which which clouds actually have, right? They have the underlying hardware which having the huge capacity of RAM, of huge capacity of virtual CPU storage, IO. So you are already leveraging those modern technology. So your infrastructure is already modernized using the lift and shift strategy, right? um, but to achieve the ultimate goal of modernization is to basically use the microservice architecture, which is we call it re-architect. Or so what do you do in the re-architect? Basically, you are refactoring your entire application code, right? Let's say your application which has been moved using the lift and shift here. Let me just give me, let's say here application, right? This application is having a monolithic application, and it's running running hundreds of modules, right, tightly coupled together. Now it's very monolithic application. Managing the monolithic application sometimes is challenging, right? Because sometimes you don't need all the modules to be tied together. So using the re-architect, you're going to extract each and every module from this monolithic application. You're going to write move into the containers, right? So you're gonna move this into the container world here, and so I'd say container. And basically and then you're going to deploy these containers into the GKE, right? So Google Kubernetes Engine basically is a managed service from the Google Cloud. So monolithic, so the decomposition of your entire monolithic application into the microservices is called the refactoring or re-architecting, and this is a truly the meaning of the modernization, right? So this is how you do, but it's not an easy, right? It takes a lot of time, years, right? Because in the re-architecting, you need to invest a lot because you are actually your developers are recoding your entire thing, right? And then working with the microservices is also not easy because you are decomposing your monolithic application. Now you have hundreds of mini microservices, or not mini, itself is a micro means it's a small application. So you are decomposing it and managing it independently, right? So any particular, so let's say this is your e-commerce application. You can have a order service, you can have a payment service, catalog service. All these modules are basically decomposed into the microservice, and they have the independent database, right? So if your order service are getting a lot more traffic, then you can independently scale it and scale out, right? And independently manage it. But again, I say, right, microservice is a very cool, but it brings a lot of complexity. If one service gets failed, the other will also have have a dependencies. So but again, though it's a complex, it brings a lot of value to the organization for the longer term because it's a portable, right? Modern applications are portable. You can run it in the Google Cloud, or you can easily migrate it to the any other cloud, easily migrate it after the re-architect has been done. Now coming to the optimization part, which is a very important part, where you basically what you do, um, once your application been migrated, the cutover has been happened, then you gonna monitor. Yeah, we are using some monitoring tool, and to optimize or to monitor your application which is running in your Google Cloud or any other cloud. And then you continue to optimize. Is there anything pending which you can better improve it, right? You will also manage to see that the costing that you have estimate is expected. You'll also ensure some of the external monitoring tool to capture all your application metrics or and infrastructure metrics to make sure that my infrastructures are not over provisioned or not under provisioned. So you're going to use this auto scaling capability and all those things. um, Again, optimization has a lot of things. It's a continuous feedback by monitoring your infrastructure and application and data, and and then continue to improve it, continue to find the improvement areas, right? And also the costing part, right? Because in the cloud, you are paying as a pay as you go model, so you are paying what you use. So you have to be think about your costing part as well, right? Now I talked about modernization, right? As I told you, right, there are certain things that you're gonna use that. So first is infra modernization, right? and then you have app modernization, you have data modernization, you have DevOps modernization, and then you have culture modernization. This is what you do when it comes to the modernization, right? So infra app modernization we have achieved. Now data modernization, again, you are moving your data from, let's say, you are using the Postgres spanner, or data migration is also the pipeline, right? You are using the modern data tools, ETL tools, right? Like in GCP we have a data flow, we have a data proc, we have a certain tools, PubSub, and all these tools. When you combine together, you get a data modernizations, right? DevOps modernization. Why I'm saying DevOps modernization? Because the way you used to deliver the software here in the traditional way is totally different when you come to the cloud. Because in a traditional way, it takes a lot of time to deliver a service, to launch a new feature of your software, right? But here, when you use the DevOps modernization in the Google Clouds, which having the native tools, you're gonna deliver your feature very fast, right? Culture modernization means it's also bring the modernization thing, right, of your people, right, that people think about the new technology. So we have seen the internet, right, in the past. We have seen the phone in the past. How, I mean, 20 years back, if you look at the technology that we had, it's not totally changed, right? The phone you have is totally changed. Now you have the smartphone. We have seen the internet, how internet was slow 20 years back, and now you are seeing internet is too fast, right? Uh, so things are getting changed, things are getting modernized. The technology that we had 20 years back is totally changed. Now we are seeing the cloud, now we are seeing the artificial intelligence. um, we are seeing a lot of technologies today's date, right? And that's called a cultural modernization. We have to adopt those new technology and use it for our business, right? So maybe in 10 years later you will have a different technology. You will move from your, maybe from containers to the other way of technology, right? So that's called a cultural modernization. And data migration, sorry, my bad, cloud migration is the foundation of your modernizations, basically, right? So once your migration has been done, you can start doing your uh, modernization. Okay, so that's it for now. This particular video is more focused on the overview of giving you the overview of the cloud migrations and modernization base. And so that because I'm going to cover some of the tools which is offered by the Cloud Migration Center, as we talked about estimations, assessments, plan. Let me show you here. So this is the um, basically, this is the Cloud Migration Center tool. Let me just copy it. Okay, so this is your Cloud Migration, Google Cloud Migration Center. And here, basically, Google Cloud Migration Center is a unified platform that helps you accelerate your end-to-end journey from your current on-premises or cloud environment to the Google Cloud. So this is an end-to-end process and tools that you need to follow. As I told you, right, you're gonna do the estimation, you're gonna do the discover, then assessment, planning, and then migrate, and then the optimize. So estimation has its own tool, discovery has its own tool, assessment has its own tool, planning, it's a planning. This is something that you people, stakeholder, gets decide, and then migrate have their own tools, right? So I'm going to cover each and every steps of Google Cloud Migration Center in a upcoming videos, one by one, right? So we will see some of the demo. All right, that's for it. I hope you have liked these videos and you enjoyed this video. Feel free to comment if you have any doubt and questions, or you want to share your experience. That would be great. All right, till then, bye, take care.